Hey, I'm Cam Day. Welcome to the channel and to today's video. As always, I'm so happy you're here. And if you found me and if you found today's video, maybe in a little bit of an internet panic because you got a little something funky going on with your nails, even better. I know it doesn't sound like it or feel like it right now, but please know that I have been there with you. I'm currently there with you, and we will get through this together. It is not the end of the world. It is not the end of your nails. We have solutions. We will figure out what it is, and we got this, okay? Okay. Let's take a deep breath. Know that we are amazing and that our nails will stop rebelling against us eventually, and let's get going. To set the stage, I want to inform you of what got me to this place of having green nails, because maybe it is very similar to your own journey. So first and foremost, I love doing nails. I've loved doing nails since I was a little girl. I will always remember in 4th grade, I had like 72 nail polishes. I had a large caboodles. I was the nail polish queen. I was so obsessed that I would paint my nails every night to match my outfit the next day. That was my life, bread and butter. That was it. And then ever since then, my nail journey has evolved. I would get them done. I did gels, I did acrylics. Now I do them at home. I have a gel system, I do gel extensions, and I have a whole slew of regular polishes as well. And I've also got some press-ons. So we've got our toes, our nails, dipped into just about everything, or at least what has appealed to me and my skill and patience level. And recently I started focusing on press-on nails, mainly because I've been really wanting to try the press-on nails from Olive & June. Before we go any further, the press-ons, the brand, the product itself is not the problem here. They're not to blame, they're not to be sworn off. Unless that is really what you need for your healing in this journey, just know it doesn't matter if you were using Kiss, whatever products, whatever glue, they are not the enemy here. So I will dive into these later because these were amazing. This was my most favorite press-on nail experience of all time to date. They're beautiful, the texture's right, I love the color, I love everything. They're great. So more on this eventually. That's not what the video is about, but just know your product is not the enemy here. Because this was my first time testing out Olive & June's press-ons, I wanted to do a little bit of a wear test, but I also didn't want to be super committal. And that's just because I get really bored with my nails pretty quickly, which is why I end up doing them myself, just because it gets expensive. I can't wait, 2, 3, 4 weeks to let my nails grow out. Maybe it's a control thing, maybe it's something I should talk to someone about, but regardless, I just like doing it myself on my own time, and it's just fun getting better and trying out new things. Anyway, whenever I need to use glue, whether it's gel to apply a gel extension to the nail or nail glue to apply, the fake nail to my nail, I do still struggle with finding out the right amount to use. Most of the time, I end up using way too much, and whether it's with the gel and I've got gel on the extension, I've got it on my nail, I'm using it under the lamp to cure it, but I have so much coming out the sides that I end up curing it and I have bubbles on the sides of my nails. And that's hard to shape and make look cute, so I struggled with that. So I was like, let's do some press-ons for a minute. It's less of a time and duration commitment of wearing them. Let's just give it a go. So I was applying the nails with the glue that was included in the kit, but I was like, you know what, I'm probably just gonna wear these for maybe a week max. I'm not gonna get too crazy with the glue because I know that good glue, you can wear these for a month if you wanted to, and I didn't want to do that. I also wanted to try soaking them off with warm water because I've never done that before, and peeling them off or popping them off or using acetone. The peeling and the popping is really painful and can be really damaging to the nail, so I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to use acetone because I wanted to try and reuse them, so I was like, this is going to be the time that I wear them and then I try soaking them off, because I just never knew that you could do that. It just seemed too easy. So that was where my head was at. And because I had already started gluing my nails on and I was gluing my fingers together. I had freaking crazy glue on my fingers, so I had to get acetone and pour it in between and try and peel them off. This is while I'm in my excitement phase putting these nails on, and I was already over it because this is what I had experienced before and would have driven me crazy. So I started to reel back the amount of glue that I was using. They stayed on really well. You know, I pressed it down for 10 to 30 seconds. Let's call it a good 20. And, you know, I did the little table test. They didn't move. They seemed pretty good. And because this nail itself, if you can see, it's a lighter nail. It's not fully opaque. I also didn't want to have too many air bubbles because I just don't like seeing them. So I thought I was doing a pretty good job at covering a lot of my nail and the nail itself with the glue, because I have had really thin press-ons before where you can see the glue right through it, and I just didn't like the way that it looked. Oh, and to actually prep my nail before applying the glue and the press-on, I did use the included prep nail wipe, which is usually just alcohol. I can't remember if I filed my nail. I don't think I did, although some people recommend, whether it's for gel or press-ons, to maybe it's for gel, to file a little bit of the top of the nail and then etch or file a little bit of the extension so that you create some texture and some friction for just better adhesion. I don't think I did that, but I did prep with the wipe. I'm about 5 days in to the wear of the press-ons, and I was really impressed. I absolutely love the way they look. I did a really good job of making sure that they were really nicely embedded into my cuticle without, you know, jamming it in there, but they just looked really seamless. They looked really natural. I loved these press-ons, and I am usually pretty precious with my nails because I've learned and I've been told over the years that nails are jewels, not tools. Whether you are just rocking natural bare nails or if you've got extensions, acrylics, you've gotten all long and fun, either way, try and not use your nails as tools because they are jewels. So I like to keep them protected. I've learned that keeping your nails, including the cuticles and the nails themselves, hydrated through cuticle oil and serums and moisturizers just helps with the overall health of your nail, and longevity of whatever you have on top of them is important. So I use gloves when I wash the dishes. The only thing is when I wash my hair, you know, I can't really do much to avoid water there. But you know, I'll use utensils to open things. Like, I try and be really gentle with my nails. But at day 5, I was like, let's give this a real wear test and let's literally take the gloves off. I washed my hair, and with curls like this, it's kind of an extensive process. I washed the dog, I washed the dishes. Like, I did all of these things multiple times without gloves, without a care, because I was like, they've lasted me 5 days so far, they're not going anywhere, let's really put them to the test. So I ended up wearing them for probably 12 days, and around day 11, I started to notice some darkness underneath the nail tip, and I was like, this is a little weird. It's probably just dirt, because I realized I didn't put them, put the glue on the entire nail. But I was like, I do a pretty good job of keeping my hands clean, you know? I wasn't like digging in ditches. I'm like, this is a little weird. Maybe something's getting a little funky under there. I should take these off soon. But the cool thing is that they lasted that long. And then day 12, this middle finger popped off, and it happened to be one that had some discoloration. And I could tell, again, because these are a fairly light colored press-on and they are sheer. So I could see the change of color underneath. And I noticed that a couple others were doing the same. So once this popped off, I could see directly on my nail this green discoloration. And I was like, this does not look good. I've never seen this before. So I washed my hands, I used an alcohol wipe, I used a little bit of a nail file. I was like, this has got to come off. This is not a good look. I even sniffed it at first because I was like, is it really just something funky and crazy? Good news, it didn't smell bad. So if yours did or does, you know, to each their own, but just letting you know, mine was fine. And it stayed on. So I was like, okay, great. My nails are stained somehow. I need to get these off. So I did try soaking them off. Wouldn't recommend because I don't have the patience for it, and you're supposed to do it in hot water, and like, it doesn't stay hot, and when at first it's hot and it's uncomfortable. So long story short, I did use acetone with little nail covers to really get the acetone on there, and I soaked them off. And I noticed that like maybe 4 or 5 of my nails had this green discoloration on them. And what really made it obvious for me to remember and realize that it had to be with how I applied them and the amount of glue that I used was the shape of the discoloration. And you'll see in the video that I'm showing you that you know, just kind of the shape that it's all taken. And I'm like, well, this is clearly where the glue was, where it's not green. And this is where I had some air spots where it is green. So of course I went to the interwebs, and already we're at a long story. So thank you for hanging in. I hope that this is easing your mind as I say these things like, oh, yep, that's what I did. That's me. We're on the same page. We're in the same space. I found out that it is the product of a bacteria, a very common bacteria that is everywhere. And if you didn't know, like, one of my favorite facts is that we are covered, like, the human microbiome, which is basically like I can't find the word right now, the total of bacteria that lives on and inside your body totals around 38 trillion. So like, there's a lot of really good bacteria that does a lot of good stuff for us. And then yes, there's some, like a teeny tiny amount of bad bacteria that causes infections and things like that. Anyway, so there's a bacteria called Pseudomonas, I believe is what it's called, how it's pronounced. Fairly common, and it's just kind of anywhere and everywhere. And once it gets trapped in an area, basically it eats whatever oils and things that are there, and its byproduct, its little bacteria poop, is what's green. And that's what you see on your nails right now. Crazy, right? So it's not a fungus, and if you do feel that you have like a nail fungus, I'm definitely not the girl for you. I do not have that experience, and in general, I'm not a medical professional. I'm just going off of my experience and what I've seen and what I've learned, and hopefully we can get through this together. With that said, ultimately what I've read so far, I've done a lot of reading in nail tech spaces. It's known as just kind of like green nail syndrome, or like green nails. It's fairly common. You know, people have seen it, especially if you get your nails done in a salon, maybe you do acrylics. It's common. So just know you and probably someone else you know will experience this, and you're going to be okay. The main consensus that I'm seeing right now is that one, most nail techs, basically all nail techs, should and will see this and deem this as a medical issue. Mainly just that they can't treat it as a nail tech, because if they were to use any additional tools, if they were to accidentally nick a part of your skin or file down a part of your nail to a place where it's unhealthy, they could just potentially be causing more harm than good. So that's when they'll probably, take a step back and say, this is not for me to handle, but go to a doctor or dermatologist and they can help from there. And if the idea of seeing a doctor for like weird colors on your nails seems like a bit much, because honestly it kind of did for me, just know I haven't consulted with my physician yet about this. If I feel that I need to, I will. But basically what I've seen as a treatment is kind of an antifungal. I'm assuming it's topical. That's, I would assume, if it's really severe. So if you find yourself in more of like, if your nails are a little bit more moist, if they're a little bit darker, like if they're almost black, then that's something I would recommend probably getting a little bit more of a serious treatment for. That's just my thought on it. If that's what I was experiencing, that's definitely what I would do. But this is kind of in the mild green realm, and it seems manageable. I've seen recommendations for people to dip their fingers in vinegar, like do vinegar soaks for up to like 30 minutes a day for, 10 days to 2 weeks. And that's supposed to help, either lighten it, maybe it kills the bacteria. I'm not too sure of the science on it. I haven't gotten there just yet myself. I may give it a try. So just so you know, between the time of me removing my nails and me making this video, it's been a little over a week. And in that time, I just cut my nails short. I cleaned up my cuticles, probably didn't need to do that, but that's just an obsessive thing. And I've just kept them bare. I keep them short so that I don't have to deal with too much breakage, and also just to keep it, as minimal as possible. And having let them breathe for a while, I have already noticed them get a little bit lighter, and basically we just have to wait it out. So this is something that you're just going to have to wait for the entire nail to grow out. And aesthetically, it's not the most beautiful thing, right? So as you can tell, I do have some regular polish on my nails. I just painted them earlier today. It's 2 quick coats. I didn't do a primer coat, like a base coat. I didn't do a top coat, because I will most likely be removing them for when I'm not recording and things like that, just to really let it breathe, but it is safe and okay to cover them up if you need to. Again, if I think you have a little bit more of a mild case of this. If it seems more severe, if there's, more textural damage to the nail, then definitely talk to someone about it. Not me, because I'm not an expert. So I've rambled on about my experience thus far. Our experience thus far, right? So now what do? We've taken our nail polish off. We know, or we've taken the press-ons, we've taken the acrylics off. We know that we need to let them breathe, but is it something that you want to try again? Do you want to love again after this type of damage and heartbreak? For me, I'm definitely going to, because like I said earlier, it's not the product itself that's the problem here. The way to prevent it in the future is just to really make sure that you're creating a really full coverage bond. So my solution to that, just so that I don't have to leave it up to chance every time, and also, potentially have to deal with the spillage of glue, which really drives me nuts because I end up with like fingers stuck together every single time and it drives me nuts. I'm gonna try glue tabs. It's literally what you think it is. Maybe you've tried them before with other press-ons. Some press-ons come with them included, and what I'm gonna do is just order them online. I think they're available on Amazon. You can even buy them in bulk. It's literally just a sheet of tabs of glue that will act similarly to the glue that comes in a bottle. You make sure that they fit the size of the press-on that you're gonna use, which means sidewall to sidewall, which is something that I experienced. In some of the B-roll that I'll be showing you here, I noticed that I had some gaps. The nails themselves didn't fully fit my entire nail, which probably made it even easier for bacteria to get in there and to really set up camp. So make sure that you have a really good fit. And that also is something that you need to pay attention to when it comes to the curve of the nail. Maybe you haven't thought about that before, and maybe you realize like, oh, that's why this nail brand fits me really well and maybe this one doesn't. We could be figuring it out, right? So if you have a flatter nail bed, if you have a really curved fake nail or gel extension, that can create a lot more space in between your nail and the thing itself that you have to fill. So that means a lot more product to put in there. So you may want to find something that's gonna sit on your nail a lot better and have much more of a tighter bond. Again, just creating the most minimal room for error there. So you want to focus on the fit. That includes the curvature of the nail. So that means, is there any gap in between your nail and the press-on itself? If there is, you're probably going to want to find a different brand, a different style that will fit a lot better, creating less space for any craziness. And make sure that the nail itself is a full cover. It has full coverage, meaning from sidewall to sidewall. You have no gaps. You can't see your natural nail there. That will create the most seamless fit and will also give you a lot stronger and longer of a wear, most likely. And with this comes prep of the nail. So that's my second thing to look out for. This I'm still figuring out myself, but I'm gonna lean toward not doing this. As I mentioned nail filing before, I think in the nail community it may be even a little bit controversial, although as a concept it totally makes sense, right? Like if you are painting a wall, you want to prime it. If you're painting a car, you want to prime it. And sometimes that means buffing the surface to create a little bit of texture so that you get a little bit of grip. Kind of imagine it as like Velcro, right? Those little things interlocking, and you just get a little bit more of a lasting stick between the thing you're painting and the paint itself. And I picked that up from my time doing gel extensions. You do a little buff on the top of your nail, nothing too crazy, not with a really coarse nail file, something that's really light and really low grit, just to create a little bit of texture, a little bit less smoothness, so that you have that grip from your natural nail. You do the same to the inside of the nail extension. You put your glue and it just creates a better bond. Now, I don't think that's an entirely necessary step with press-ons. Some people may swear by it. Personally, I don't think I'm going to do that going forward, because what it can do, especially if you're not really careful with it or if you haven't done it before and you're not doing it evenly, it can just cause some trauma. Actually, it's a big word, but you can actually cause trauma to your nail itself. And I want to keep my nails as healthy as possible because I've damaged them a lot in the past, and I want to help treat them well while still being able to do these fun, enhancements and colors and all those things. So I will just stick to, my regular nail prep I will not be buffing or filing the top of the nail bed. Just to keep it smooth, I will use a nail prep wipe, whether that's with alcohol, even acetone if that's all you have, or the wipe that comes included. Give it a really good wipe. Even do that on the inside of the press-on itself, just to make sure it's really clean. If you find that you accidentally hit your hand on your face or have to grab something after you've already wiped it down and you're still going in for the glue, wipe it down again, just to really make sure that you're not leaving anything on the nail bed or the nail plate that could, you know, turn into something else later on. Number 3, especially if you're a little more conservative with the glue, use more glue than you think. Like, make sure that you're covering entirely the top of the nail plate, and do the same for the inside of the extension or the press-on itself, just because this way you will visually be able to see that you're not leaving any room for any of this funny business to happen again. And after you've pressed it on, just really make sure that you're getting it pressed on. If there are any air bubbles, hopefully you get them out, but just use more than you think. Even if there's spillage, like, I think it's worth the risk. Clean it up a little bit, or like I'm gonna do, try those nail tabs, the glue tabs. I think that will be a really helpful thing. And lastly, number 4, one of my favorite things, it's a little bougie, but I'm really here for it. Remember that your nails are jewels, not tools. So that just means don't be super rough with them if you don't have to be. That will help with the longevity, not only of the manicure itself, but of the bond between your nail and the extension or the press-on itself. It won't cause damage or trauma because you're being mindful with how you're using them. So, you know, don't use your nails to open up boxes or open up cans if you don't have to. Use gloves while washing the dishes or anything else, you know, that you need, or cleaning the house, things like that. Whatever you use your hands for, if you can protect them in a way and be mindful of that without, you know, like doing a little too much if it's outside of your usual routine, definitely give that a try. I think that will also just keep your hands feeling nice and pretty and all of those things, which is why we like to do these things to our nails in the first place, right? At least I can say that for myself. I do use a little cuticle pen. I have a cuticle serum that is right in front of me from Olive & June. If you can't tell, I'm an Olive & June girl. But use a cuticle oil, things like that, just to keep your nails hydrated, because that will also help with the longevity of any manicure that you do, because your nail itself will be healthy. Just like with our skin, you know, the skin barrier is such a trendy topic these days, but it's really responsible for a lot of things. And the happier and healthier your skin is by being moisturized and not out of balance, it will be less likely to break out. You'll be less likely to have dry patches and fine lines and things like that, because it's just hydrated and taken care of. And our nails are very similar. While I have you, one more product recommendation I want to make. I literally just got this in the mail yesterday. I've only used it once, but I'm a believer already. I saw this on the Instagram page of a manicurist that I follow. She's kind of like a celebrity manicurist. She says she swears by it. I'd never seen it before, but as I'm in this new phase of really treating my nails well and just being here for the process, letting them grow out, but trying to keep them as healthy as possible in the meantime, especially while using regular polish, which I want to try and make last as long as possible, but I'm getting ahead of myself. This Karma Naturals nail polish remover, it's basically an oil-based nail polish remover. It takes a little extra, I won't even call it elbow grease, just a little extra finger grease while you're using a cotton pad or a cotton round to remove your regular polish. It's basically a nail polish remover and cuticle oil in one. My nails felt so hydrated after, which is so weird. I've never experienced that with regular or acetone nail polish remover. It's acetone free, it contains vitamin E, it's made in the US. It's super simple. I don't know the science behind it, but I love the way that my nails felt after. I could just leave them bare with this on top, and they felt really, really hydrated and really good afterwards. So if you're looking for a little extra TLC, I would recommend trying something like this as well. Okay, we are winding down. Thank you so much for hanging in so far. I realized how fired up I am about this and how there's just a lot of context that I felt that I needed to share, and I hope that, you know, we are in a similar boat here. So again, thanks for sticking with me. I do feel there's probably something I missed, but if you feel the same, let me know in the comments. I'm happy to chat with you down there. Or if you just want to commiserate for a moment because you're like, am I turning into Shrek? What is happening? I'm totally with you, but the cool thing is that you're not, at least that I know of, as far as your nails go. And we're going to make it through. They are going to grow out, and you're going to look back on this time and be like, haha, I had green nails. What a time. But I hung out with Cam and I learned that I'm not the only one and that it's not the end of the world. So feel free to chat with me down in the comments. I am also willing to try some of these alternatives because, again, my nails are still a little bit green. You know what? I'm going to show you this nail polish remover right now. We're going to get real crazy. I just did 2 little dollops, and I'm trying to remember which fingers are affected. I'll do this middle finger. That was the first one that I ever noticed. So I'm going to show you in real time how long it takes to remove just 2 layers of regular polish with this oil-based nail polish remover. And we're done. I'm not flipping you off. I'm so sorry. That is what it looks like. But this is the nail. If I can get focused here, we're working on it. There it is. Okay, so you can see we've got a little bit of that discoloration on the nail. I think it's gotten lighter over the last week or so, but it was so simple and easy to remove. Basically like regular nail polish remover, to be honest, with that new oil nail polish remover. But it's clearly covering up most of my nail plate here. So I do have some time for this to grow out, and I'm going to have to be patient throughout that time. But the cool thing is that with regular polish, with a really gentle and easy remover, I think, we'll get through this just fine. Anyway, thank you so much for your patience and for hanging out with me today. It's always such a pleasure to have this time to just chat about these things, especially the stuff that is not always the most fun to talk about or the most talked about because not everyone experiences it, Like, I know people that wear press-ons that get their nails done and have done it for years. No problem. I mean, myself included. This is the first time I've experienced this, but it is manageable, it's deal-withable, and you're still cute. Your nails still cute. It's got a little fun going on, and that's okay. So, like I said, if there's anything that I missed or if there's anything that you want to chat about, I'll be hanging out in the comments and we can do that there. If you're new to the channel and want to stick around for a little bit more, just know that I cover a lot of beauty, reviews, and demos, anything from nails, makeup, hair. I am a certified makeup artist, but I do a little bit of everything, so feel free to check out other videos in my channel, and I hope I get to see you in the next one. Until then, whenever and wherever you are, I hope you take care, and I hope that you're well. And I'll see you then. Love you, bye.